We're back after way too long of a break. We have returned. This is Saber Reels. This is the Star Wars show here on the Who Are They Real Entertainment Network. My name is Toby Barkwell, and with me this evening, Colin the Conqueror, Colin Morris. How you doing, my friend?
Buddy, I'm so happy to be here. Missed you last week. Fantastic to get into a galaxy far, far away. We have so many things to talk about this week, from Bad Batch to posters of all varieties, whether they be theme park related. We can get into a little bit of that, and a tiny green man that just I love to death, Toby, almost as much as I love you.
Oh wow, I appreciate that. Yeah, today's show is going to be a little bit different. We're going to switch things up a little bit, right? We're going to start with our normal pleasantries, talking about our week in Star Wars, any new collectibles we've picked up the last couple weeks. But we will start our main topic conversation with the Bad Batch, catch up on the last couple of episodes, and then our big discussion is going to be about this poster that Colin just referred to, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Oh, there was this little sneak peek. I'm sure you guys have already seen it, but there's a lot to talk about with this thing because what a surprise that was to see this week. But Colin, we'll start with you real quick. What did your Star Wars week look like? Any new collectibles to add to the collection?
I did, and unfortunately, the Bad Batch was not there to protect my package, as unfortunately Omega showed up with many dents in her box. Might be an out of boxer for me. I love her so much as a character. The bobblehead is perfect. But yeah, the box, not so much. Always happy to add to the Funko collection. Very weird. We got a Funko Con coming up for San Diego, and the Funkos for this one are the Imperial jet trooper from Rebels, the white snow costume, which is very unique trooper design with just the eyes. It's not like, like a normal slit or anything going across the eyes. So very interested to see how that turns out. How was your week, bud?
Oh, it was good, man. Still reading The Rising Storm. I'm kind of a slow reader these days, just as busy as I am, and my attention span just keeps getting smaller and smaller. But I'm working my way through it. And thank you, Camshaft. Have a good show. We appreciate it. Also, but you talk about that Funko Con. Did you see the Rey that they're going to release too from The Force Awakens?
I saw that.
That one I think I'm going to get.
Okay, so spoilers. I have 2 logins for the Funko Con drop. I got exclusive access to the Funko Days, like the FunCon that they usually do at San Diego. So there's gonna be some secret stuff in there that I'm excited for, and hopefully I can get access to the drops that are to the ones that we're referring to now, the ones that'll actually come out during the con. So excited. Funko season is in the thick of it.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I've gotten any new Funkos. I've pre-ordered a whole bunch the last couple months, but in terms of like getting them in hand and adding them to the stack behind me, it's been a little bit. But that Rey one, I'm definitely going to keep my eye on.
Oh, and I got my bookshelf set up over here behind me. Finally, we got a bookshelf
nice.
for my grandparents, and I had a lovely time putting up my Star Wars books over there right now. I have, just to name a few, I have 2 copies of Path of Destruction because it's so good. Choice of One by Timothy Zahn, very good old EU book. Got a little Star Wars Scoundrels, a great one-shot story of Han, Chewie, and Lando just getting to some shenanigans, and of course, Heir to the Empire.
There you go. That's good. I don't have a bookshelf up. My books are kind of scattered around my room. There's some right here in front of me. There's some in like a locker behind me. I cannot wait, like my dream, just have a room with all my shit. Like that's my books, my Funkos, my Black Series, everything. Nice. But it's, right now, still being at home in my own little room, it's just everything's just all over the place. But of course, one day. But we are going to start with Bad Batch today. And
well, last week.
Yeah, I was saying,
you have so many thoughts. We need to Ryloth you. We need a Ryloth debrief from Toby, because how fantastic was that, man? It just felt like a movie we were watching.
Dude, so last time I was here, last episode I talked about was Common Ground, an episode I enjoyed. It was not my favorite by any means, but it was a good episode. And then the next week we transitioned to Ryloth, and the Bad Batch were essentially a cameo in their own show. We spent the entire episode with Hera and Chopper. Like, what a surprise that was. I mean, seeing little Hera and seeing Chopper is always a good time. And I really liked how we got to catch up with Cham, see what he's been up to since Clone Wars has ended, seeing how Hera is as a kid. And that whole episode really was a setup for, Rescue on Ryloth, which by far my favorite episode of the season, right? After we visit Ryloth and get an idea of what is going on there, the shenanigans with the Empire, it really was, it made sense for the next episode to be, oh, Hera is on the run, the Empire's looking for her, Cham's locked up, Cham and his wife are locked up, she needs to recruit the Bad Batch to come help. And that's exactly what happens. The Bad Batch show up, and I love how at first Hunter's just like, yeah, we have no business here. Like, this isn't worth it for us. It's too high of a risk. And of course, Omega is the one that's like, no, we need to help them. Like, they need our help, and soldiers help people. And I love how that was kind of the main arc of the episode, was the Bad Batch helping out Hera, helping out the Syndulas, and even running into Crosshair one more time and seeing at the very end of the episode, Crosshair has full permission, like, I'm going to go catch those guys. And we didn't see this week. We didn't see any of that. This week's episode was not my favorite. We'll just keep it that way. I mean, there are some things in it to enjoy, but overall, just to be completely honest with you, I did not watch it a second time. I probably won't watch it a second time. It's just one of those, maybe as they were writing the season, they know they have to have so many episodes. They got to throw in a filler. I hate using that word, but in this case, I think it really is kind of a filler episode. Best I can say is that the relationship with Sid is getting stronger. She owes them now. I really, really liked the moment where this gangster guy wants to use, or not the gangster guy, it's the Pike Syndicate want to use Omega as like collateral, as they're going to go try and find this spice. And the Bad Batch all immediately draw their weapons, and they're like, nah, you're not taking this kid. I thought that was a really special moment, but other than that, kind of forgettable. Colin, I know you probably feel the same way.
Yeah, and I will say the moment that I enjoyed the most was Sid when they're walking out of they've left Omega, they've left her as collateral, and Sid says, look, I got the kid into this mess, and I'm going to get her out. And it was kind of this put up or shut up moment for Sid, and if that's what we got out of this episode, seeing Sid's character, develop a bit more and to be more of a positive influence on these guys, and maybe be a bit of a better plug than just, the back alley stuff that they've been doing and not really giving them the full picture for most of these jobs. Maybe setting up something for season 2 where they're able to have a bit more. And probably she's not going to be working out of a bar in season 2. I think Sid's going to bounce back from this rough economy.
No, I would agree with that. And I'm curious how much longer the Bad Batch are going to work with Sid, because I was under the impression, I must have just completely read the episode wrong. But when Omega wins back, I guess that's not the right way to phrase it. She pays off their debt, right, with playing Sabak or Jarek, right? I thought that was the Bad Batch basically like, oh, we don't need you anymore, Sid. Like, we've paid off our debt. We're going to go off on our own and do our own thing now. That's not the case. They are still working with Sid. Sid hints in this episode, like, I still got those secrets, right? Like, wink, wink. Like, y'all can't run off quite yet. I still know some things. And so I wonder, with Crosshair on their tail, like, how much longer the Bad Batch are going to be working for Sid. But also with Pike Syndicate being introduced in this episode, I wonder if we might see Dryden Voss sometime soon.
That'd be fantastic. I'm so in on that. I need all of the Solo connections. I do think they built Sid up to get shot by Crosshairs. Kind of my prediction. This is one of those things. I know I just mentioned, like, season 2 working for her, but, like, it also sets up, like, now you give a shit?
Right.
Bop! Just bop her and then take her out the next episode. You're like, no, we just started to like you. It's a very Star Wars thing to do.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. And actually, the more I think about it, I 100% agree with you. And I also think that the reason this episode is going to be important is because next season, if we do get a season 2, I have full confidence we'll get a season 2. The Bad Batch are really going to be in the underworld dealing with the crime syndicates, and that's when I think we might see Dryden Voss, might see Darth Maul pop up. That's kind of where my head's at right now, just based off of.
I'd love to see them
episode.
be the ones that get the Mandalorian armor for Dryden Voss. I'd like to know how he got that Mandalorian armor back there, and that's some old shit. That's not like we just use that. That's game worn jersey. Right. And that's just like hanging up in the rafters in your office. I appreciate that. So, what do you want from the rest of the season to wrap up the Bad Batch?
So we do have 3 episodes left, and we have a title for next week titled War Mantle for episode 14. And then 15 and 16, I believe, will be like a 2-parter finale, if I had to guess. You know how Star Wars Animation likes their 2-part.
To the best of my knowledge, War Mantle, that's what you said, I believe is the order to decommission the clones from the Imperial Army.
Correct.
Okay, so I think that's what we're going to get next week, which might lead to our vastly anticipated clone uprising on Kamino. Right. Like, you guys don't need us anymore? Well, let's see how much you like us when you don't need us.
Right. I wonder, and this is just completely reckless speculation on my part, if next week we spend all our time on Kamino, we don't see the Bad Batch at all. It's another one of those episodes, and we really start to see just the average clone on Kamino, what's going through their head, right? Maybe they catch wind of War Mantle and what's actually going on, and then they start to inform each other, like, oh my God, like they want to replace us. They might find out about the chip, and then the next episode, the Bad Batch go back to Kamino for whatever reason, and it all kind of comes to a head. Like they're there to rescue the clones. The clones know why they got to get off Kamino, and they all just kind of come together. That's just my reckless speculation at this moment. But like I said, 3 episodes, man. Like this season has completely flown by, and I've enjoyed pretty much every minute of the show. I'm so glad we have it, and I really hope we get an announcement for season 2 very soon.
Who knows? We might be in the room, Toby.
Who knows?
We might be in the room.
We very well might be.
Where it happened.
I mean, if we're talking about timing, right? So, Celebration is in May, which is not that far away, believe it.
Really is not. May will, like, to me, in my mind, that's all right. That's one more football. That's one more football season. That's one more basketball season. We'll be in the middle of the playoffs. Oh, geez, it'll turn right around. We'll be in May tomorrow by the looks of it.
No, you're right, man. I mean, think about it. We'll probably be done with Book of Boba Fett for sure by May. We may have seen a couple episodes of Mandalorian by May. Like, who knows that schedule still?
And we can talk about this like the closer and closer we get, and the more light gets shown on release dates. It's going to be really interesting to see how Disney handles like cons with all of these shows going on at one time. Like, how does Disney arrange D23 to service Marvel by not cutting into any of the shows, cutting into the movies? Because they're doing a tiny Disney con this year, tiny D23, I think, down at Walt Disney World. So there's a chance that might be, that's the only Disney, tentpole thing for sure to happen. So there's one chance for this year. I just see I see Bad Batch being a announcement like that, but Celebration, it's gonna be the Rebels sequel show. I think what we're gonna get our answers to. It just sets it up. It's just the time, the vibe. It just feels
right.
It feels right.
Timing is everything for Disney. Like, they've made their name off of just perfectly timing everything, and with Marvel and Star Wars all going on at the same time. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if like an episode of a big Star Wars show or an episode of a big Marvel show drops during either Celebration or this Disney con. So can you imagine being at Celebration and like missing a couple hours of Celebration because you had to watch the latest episode of the whatever Star Wars show?
They would just show it there.
They probably would just show it there. Yeah, that's a good point. That would be something else, man.
Oh my God, we were all just there for episode 3, right? It's just like some random. It's like episode 4, and it's just like Mando and Bo-Katan like trying to like get some hyper fuel, and you're like, oh geez, this is a rough. We're like, yeah, but then this lit. We're all sitting together. This is great.
I wonder if like since most Disney shows they air at like midnight, like West Coast time. What if they aired it exclusively for us like that afternoon? at
I'll
like
sign an
6
NDA.
o'clock. Oh
Disney,
yeah,
I'll
for
sign
sure.
whatever the fuck
For
you
sure.
want.
Right?
I'll sign it. What is if you want to party with the queen, you got to sign a non-disclosure. That's what Beyonce says. Like, I will do
Right.
that all day long, and whatever you guys need, I won't say a thing. Loose lips sink ships, as far as I'm concerned.
But anyway, no, Bad Batch season 2. I don't know when we're gonna get an announcement, but I mean they announced Loki season 2 in the last episode of Loki season 1, so I mean it wouldn't surprise me.
And then the
if they do
Hollywood
that
Reporter did it at 6 a.m. So
right, exactly.
Thanks, Hollywood Reporter. Appreciate it.
So we'll see what happens. I'm very excited for these last 3 episodes. I know we didn't love this past episode, but that happens, you know. Like you're not gonna love every single one.
Somebody did, right?
Someone did, yeah.
Somebody
exactly.
did, and that's what makes me happy. That's
right,
what makes me happy.
100%. But now, Colin, we are gonna get into this.
Let's tease. Let's save. I got one thing. I got one little extra thing because I am a big, and when I say big, I am a huge theme park junkie. I love theme parks, specifically a little place called Walt Disney World. I don't know if you've ever heard of this place before.
No, never.
It's a wonderful place. Some even call it the happiest place on Earth.
No
and
way.
Coming
I don't believe
next
it.
year in 2022, currently under construction, Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser, where you and your family are going to be able to go on a 3-night, either 2-night, 3-day, or 3-night, 4-day trip into a completely immersive Star Wars story. Looking at this image, you got this over here on the left. You got a lovely Twi'lek serving this humanoid family. And then we see the First Order. We see another Twi'lek Jedi figure. Even everything from just, your average little scavenger there on the right next to Chewbacca. And you got the Hammerhead there above. And Kylo Ren over the left shoulder. You're truly going to be able to immerse yourself in Star Wars. Toby, any connection to Disney, Star Wars, I mean, the world, does this make you want to just, how are you not foaming at the mouth, right? Like, this is just like every one of our dreams. We can just go cosplay for real.
So I have many a thought on this. Okay. I have experienced Galaxy's Edge.
I have not, so I'm very jealous.
So that was the most immersed I've ever been in anything, and I thought it would be the most immersed I could be into anything, at least related to Star Wars, right? Like once you go through like this tunnel and you are on
you
Batuu,
leave like Muppets Land, right?
Yes,
like you literally walk past the Muppets 3D ride and then suddenly you're in Batuu.
Yeah, and the way they designed Galaxy's Edge, like you're literally immersed. You cannot see any other ride while you're in Galaxy's Edge. You can't see any other signage. You can't see literally anything but Batuu. Like you're there and you're not going anywhere. It's 100% immersion. And it was wonderful. It was great. I could talk about it all day long. But when you find out about this hotel experience, this is taking it to a whole nother level.
This is Westworld.
Yes. But I have concerns. I have some concerns because we've talked about this on the channel before, but this is the first time we really got to see. Yeah, price aside. Because, oh boy, I think it was
I'll sell a kidney.
It was like $2,500 for 3 people for 3 days or something. Yeah. So, I mean,
double the price of a regular Disney vacation.
Like, my biggest concern is there such thing as too much immersion? And when I say that, like when I'm on vacation, right? I don't want to be bothered, right? Like I want to just do my own thing. Like I want to just relax. Like let me just get a drink, sit by the pool. Let me eat at the restaurants I want to eat at. Let me go to the attractions I want to go to. I don't want to be forced to do anything. I don't want to kill myself. I want to relax. And when I see the itineraries of the Star Cruiser thing and all the things they have planned, I have an inkling feeling that it's one of those things where if you want to get the full immersion, your schedule is going to be completely full from the time you wake up until the time you go to bed. And that's my biggest concern. It's like, what if I just want to lay in my bed and look out and see the stars and just be completely immersed and feel like I'm in space on this galactic hotel right? But instead I got someone knocking on the door like, you have dinner at 6:30 with the Twi'lek family, who isn't really Twi'leks, they're just dressed up like Twi'lek. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to be like rushed to do all of these different things when
I hear
I'm
your
on vacation.
concerns, and I think my only like devil's advocate rebuttal is your points on Galaxy's Edge then give you the best of both worlds. You can go stay at the Pop Century or the Key West or wherever in Disney you want to stay and still go get that immersion. Because the only thing I'm going to compare it to that I have personal experience with is the Wizarding World at Universal. That is something for me as a diehard pothead that I walk in there and I'm like, holy shit. Like I wear, and I'm crossing over here, if I wear my head boy pin, they call you head boy. Like if you are that, if you wear this pin and you walk up to the Hogwarts Express, you will get the first train. They will it's a whole thing. It's like, it's awesome.
Wow.
So when you take that level, and I really think that's what Disney looked at, because it's in their own city, right? Like Disney owns Orlando, but Universal tries very hard to be, also own it in their own right. This is what Disney's putting themselves. This is the standard, right? This is the standard that they've raised, and Batu has leveled up more so than not. And also, if you've ever been to Pandora in Animal Kingdom, truly one of the most immersive things you will ever do in your entire life.
Yes, Pandora was insane.
You are on an entirely different alien world. So I trust Disney in that sense, that if people do want to do this, this is for a certain niche. Mm-hmm. If I end up doing this one day, it will not be for another 10, 15 years. And I hope that when I do, it is the fucking cat's pajamas. Like by the time they have worked out everything, right. I can be able to plan everything. I can do like lightsaber training. I better be able to hold a real lightsaber at that point. Like all the things you want, like everything's going to be great. This to me sets up a new, like when I have kids, and hopefully we're in a solid financial state where you just go to Disney World for a family vacation, right? This is like, I would do this with my kids if they were 11, 14 years old. This is not for the 5-year-olds. This is for nerdy couples who aren't, who don't have kids yet, or for kids that are able to actually experience this. But $2,500, holy shit.
Yeah, no, I agree with most of what you just said, right? It's one of those things where I probably would wait a significant amount of time to see, okay, this is exactly what this is. They do get rid of the kinks, right? Hopefully maybe lower the price a little bit. That would make the most sense to me. But then at the same time, when they announced Galaxy's Edge, I was sitting with my brother and we were talking about it. And we're like, we're not going to make it to this park for like probably 8 years at the minimum.
Because it's going to be ridiculous.
Because it's going to be so full. And then we ended up
it's harder to get a spot for Rise of the Resistance than it is to get a Funko Pop. Like the most the most craved thing in the world right now that you can get through your phone is a Rise of the Resistance boarding pass. Yeah. It's people if you walk into Hollywood Studios, I have seen the videos of everyone at, I think it's like 1:00 when the second batch goes up. Everybody's on their phones. Like it's just like everybody tries to get that boarding pass. It is so sought after, but it's worth it according to you, right? It's worth it.
Oh yeah, because me and my brother, when we ended up going, we were like, we have to ride this ride. We've heard it's the greatest ride Disney has ever created, like by far. And so we got to Hollywood Studios.
You talking about Rise, or are you talking about
Rise of the Resistance? Okay. Rise of the Resistance. We got to Hollywood Studios at 5:30 in the morning. We were not right on the gate, but we could see the gate, so we were pretty up close. And I had done nothing but just watch YouTube videos and was on Reddit the whole night of just getting detailed explanation on how to be guaranteed to get a spot. So when I got to the gate, I was ready. And so we went through. I immediately got on my phone, was just like hit all the right buttons, and we got a pass. And the ride is absolutely incredible. Don't watch YouTube videos of it. Experience it
I intentionally skip. I watch a Disney blogger, Tim the Tracker. He's absolutely fantastic. He's probably the best Disney vlogger out there. And every time his family goes, the only thing I watch them do is eat the food. I'm like, oh, the food looks so good. Oh, the food looks so good. And anytime he walks into a ride, skip. So I've seen the pictures. Everybody's seen the pictures. But I cannot even imagine that they don't do justice. Like, you know, like it's so beautiful looking at the pictures, but just being there in that, it's truly an experience. I wouldn't define it as a ride. Like, it's like an experience.
Yes. No, like Space Mountain is a ride.
That's a ride.
Rise of the Resistance is you are in the story. Like, you insert yourself into Star Wars and you go throughout this story, and it has 6 or 7 different stages. And there's one particular stage where the doors open, you walk in, and you see stuff. And my jaw was on the floor. Like, I could not believe what was happening. And I imagine that Star Cruiser is going to be very similar, but kind of to summarize, I don't want to be stuck to an itinerary. I really don't. And I'm afraid that's kind of what this is going to be, at least at the beginning. They're going to want people to stay on a schedule and to be
especially
busy.
Now, you know, restrictions and everything. You want to keep things, you know, cyclical and try to keep everybody on the right page. I'm with you, dude. But 2022, hopefully things are a little bit better then, and we can, you know, we can see what this can truly be. Because, I mean, this is probably the closest thing to Westworld we have on planet Earth right now.
Right.
And I'm a diehard Westworld fan. I don't care if you didn't like season 3. The idea of it is fantastic, and I love just the idea of the world. And this is the closest thing. Like, they're like, all right, we watch Westworld. Yeah, you guys, you want that?
Right.
Well, we'll try. We'll do our best.
I'm just I'm curious because on Batu, everyone's dressed in costume. They look like, you know, they're just, you know, regular kind of traders, right? Just wearing, you know, like overalls, and like, just, you look like you're in Star Wars. But with Star Cruiser, they're taking it a step further, and there will be people dressed like aliens walking around. And I'm like, that poor soul walking around in an alien costume for their whole
not
shift.
the poor soul. The people that dress up as aliens, they're getting paid, bro. They're getting paid.
Yes,
those people are fine.
I cannot imagine that that's a comfortable way to spend 8 hours of your day.
Imagine how cold it's going to be in there. Because
those people you're in space,
sweat their balls off in Orlando in June, and those people are like, "I'm in full Twi'lek, motherfucker. You want more salt?"
Still, like, can you imagine, like, before you go into work every day, you have to have your face painted fully?
Oh my god!
On, like, a head.
Do you follow Paul Bettany on Instagram?
I think so, yeah.
Poor bastard has been posting photos. I can't tell if it's from something he's working on right now as Vision, or if it's something, or if it's just like past photos from WandaVision. That dude in his trailer, you gotta feel for that guy, because he hasn't been to work at Marvel a day in his life and not been covered in head to toe with dots and all that stuff. And Gamora too, you know, all those videos, and you got like that on a daily scale for like, oh my god, like that is your 9 to 5 is to come. Well, probably not 9 to 5. It's probably like 9 p.m. to 5 p.m. because of how long the makeup takes.
Yeah, dude, Paul Bettany was so spoiled. Like, the first 3 or 4 movies he was in the MCU, he recorded his lines in like a couple hours, and that was it. And
then he was like, you know who else would be great at this? My wife. And she's the voice of Friday. So it's like great. It's like, I think my wife would be great at this. And somebody else needs to come in from our family and just do nothing. But speaking of doing nothing and doing everything at the same time, what in the world is Lucasfilm thinking, letting something as beautiful as this make its way onto the internet and then have the gall to confirm that it's real? And then there's no StarWars.com post, there's no Star Wars tweet, and then suddenly they're like, you know what? It's real. All of it. It's true. This is real. Toby, this is Grogu making his fucking lightsaber like it's the deleted scene out of Return of the Jedi, and we're like, what the fuck is going on here, dude? What is happening?
Okay, Colin, my man. So, let's break it down. So this was, what day was this?
This is yesterday.
Yesterday,
yes,
right?
Feels like a year ago.
So I'm at work, and it was probably dead. So I'm just on my phone, just mindlessly scrolling on Twitter, and I see this, right? And there wasn't a huge reaction out of me.
Was this Boss Logic doing some shit?
Exactly. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, someone made a cool mock-up of Luke and Grogu with the lightsaber. Very cool. Like, well done. It is a very well done painting, right? And then I'm scrolling, and I just keep seeing it and seeing it and seeing it. I'm like, wow, guys, like, yes, it's cool. Like, everyone's sharing it. And then I start to do a little bit more digging, and something big event is going on this weekend.
It's SDCC at home.
Right, exactly. It's not Comic-Con, but it's the best they can do. Again, we're still in the pandemic, unfortunately. Wear your mask, get vaccinated. So I see this and it's like, oh, this is like some official thing that's being shown at SDCC at home. But again, it's not registering in my mind that this is like an important thing that's like legit piece of artwork that, you know, has got the stamp of approval from Lucasfilm. And then you text in our group chat and I see it again and I'm like, holy shit. And again, just took half a second for me to like, oh my God, this is real. This is happening. Why does Grogu have a lightsaber? It's yellow. He's with Luke. Like,
he's a fucking guardian, bro. He's a guardian. Like, he's a Jedi guardian. Like, my old Republic MMORPG sense takes over. Like, this is a guardian, bro. He is like, Luke thinks this is like a trustworthy individual who not 4 episodes ago was choking people, slamming people up against walls, using the Force in every which way. And here we are presented with something that, like, how in the world could we both sit here and think this is not real, and then it is? I don't know if we've ever had something like this in Star Wars. I truly don't know if this is. I can't remember something like this having this. I mean, that was the definition of a silent but deadly fart. Like, it was not supposed to happen, and it reeks of awesomeness. Like, it is so random because this reminds me of Celebration 2019, and they're at the convention center and people start posting pictures of that mural of the saga. And there was the real life version of Thrawn, and everyone was like, wow, it's Thrawn, we're gonna get Thrawn. Live action Thrawn specifically. We can get into that rumor too. There was another rumor this week that Thrawn is gonna be in the Obi-Wan series, but that is just stuff that, like, these art pieces have really just inspired speculation, and now they're like, no, this is real. So let's talk about the ramifications of this. So this is what? Who's this? Mandalorian season 3? I don't know. Like, I don't like how. I when I was talking with my boy Boggs and Soul over on the Pop Culture Universe earlier this year, we all were struggling during the Mandalorian, figuring out, like, Boggs was team. He was team Luke. I was team, I didn't want it to be Luke, but I was so satisfied when it was that I didn't know, like, how Luke coming into this story and taking Grogu was really going to, like, how are we really going to see this? And now with everything that, like, even Mark Hamill has come out in conversations about, like, I thought they were going to get somebody younger. They called me to do it. And I was like, are you guys serious? Like, he didn't even believe that they were going to do it. He thought they were going to hire somebody like Sebastian Stan or somebody, you know, a lookalike to do it. And he was going to be cool with it. He said he would have approved it. But dude, we might get a show. This might be a whole show. This is not Mandalorian content anymore. Right. Because this totally detracts from that story.
So I have a couple of different things that could happen with this, what this could mean, right? My first one being what you said. This can have a connection to what we're going to see, not necessarily in the Mandalorian, but in the Mandalorian verse.
Let's call it the Filoni verse.
The Filoni verse, yeah.
Filoni verse.
This could be a tease at what could be coming down the pipe in the future of the Filoni verse. That can be an option, and it's been speculated since we saw that big final scene in the last episode of season 2. Like, oh my God, we're going to get a Luke show with Grogu. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. Could be that. And if it's that, let's go. I'm ready for it. Like, perfect. Like,
Guardians totally of the board. Force.
That's a great title. I don't mind that. I don't mind that. My other thing being that, and this almost might even be the better of the two.
Bring it. Bring it. I want it. I'm sweating right now. I'm literally sweating of how sweaty I am.
And it might not be what you think. I'm thinking that this poster is meant to just open up our imaginations, to just create our own stories in our head of what Luke and Grogu do while they're on their adventures.
Because I don't need to see it.
Exactly.
I don't give a shit.
we can just like, it's just old school. If like with our action figures, man, we just come up with our own stories. We know Grogu's got a yellow lightsaber. He's with Luke, and Luke's training him, and they go on all these adventures, and they can run into this guy and do this thing and this thing and this thing. And that this poster is just meant to just open our imaginations up and just create our own stories in our head about what these two guys go on this big adventure. We know we're going to see Grogu again. I have no doubt in my mind that Grogu is going to end up with Din Djarin when it's all said and done. But in the meantime, Grogu is going on some adventures with Luke. We may see those on screen. We may not. We might see him in a comic book. We very well may see those adventures. But in the meantime, Lucasfilm shows us this poster like, hey, you remember those guys? Grogu's got a lightsaber now. Luke's going to show him how to use it, right? Yeah, too bad Grogu can barely walk on his own. He's still a baby, but let's give him a weapon. And we can create these own adventures and stories in our mind. And that way, everyone's satisfied, right? Because what have we seen recently with Luke Skywalker? That what they do with this character, not everyone is going to be satisfied. But if they show us a poster of these guys, just a badass poster at that, right? And let us kind of just create our own stories with these two characters and what they do while Din Djarin's trying to save Mandalore, right? I imagine that that's going to take some time. Like, they're going to be
backdoor pilot the fuck out of me. Backdoor pilot me right now. It's season 1, episode 17 of Arrow, where the Flash showed up. Backdoor pilot me right now. I don't care. Like, one episode. I'm be honest. I don't care if I don't ever see Grogu with Din ever again. I'm gonna be completely honest.
Oh,
because,
wow.
Like,
I've not heard that yet.
Like, because I love both of them individually, and I feel like I don't know what else Din has to learn from being with Grogu. Because his lesson was accepting being yourself, accepting that you are not bound by these codes, by these laws that you have lived your life by, and you can break free and be your own self. And I almost feel it would do Din a disservice to not... If Grogu and Din are on screen together again, it will be as equals. Not as the child, the bounty, the package, whatever he was. A burden to him, a task. It will be as equals. And that will be a more powerful moment for me, because I don't need to see Din scaled back from whatever he's going to learn on his conquest of Mandalore, because I truly believe he deserves to sit on the throne. That we have seen these families tear this planet apart for hundreds and hundreds of years and done nothing but backstab. I will watch a live action Game of Thrones Mandalorian show all day long that was like 100 years before any of this. I will watch that all day long.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But the history that exists, Din is the perfect foil to how we can be successful as Mandalorians and not reside in our own way, in the old ways. We can embrace new ways. And I think that Grogu being experienced in the Force, and then Din fully being embraced in the new Mando way, sets us up for post-9 storylines. I don't want to see these two. I would love to see these two post-sequel trilogy. And I know that's like 20 years, but fuck it, that could grow like an inch and a half.
Right.
You can still put the mask on, like you can put some gray in Din's beard. He'll still be, we had some old farts in Mandalorian armors in the Clone Wars. These guys are at least in their early 50s, late 50s in these in some of these Mandalorian armors, right? Like, these guys are, they'll fly till they die.
Right.
So I think we set ourselves up for a story that we don't expect. And that's what I want from this. I do not want Din needing to save him again or have to be worried about it. The next time that dude shows up, he better be flipping around with a yellow lightsaber. Be like, nah, bro, I got you.
Right.
Imagine Grogu saving Din.
Ooh.
Everybody's like, ah!
Yes.
Everybody's like freaking out right now. Like, I want to go turn the season finale on right now. After this, I might go watch season 2, the last episode again. Just like,
is
good
so
it is.
incredible.
Oh, it's so
But
good.
no, listen, I hear you. In story, in universe, I 1000% hear you. That this being a backdoor pilot for the adventures of Luke and Grogu, give me all day.
Hashtag Guardians of the Force.
But
the Cleveland Guardians of the Force, to keep it on brand for this network.
My issue with that is, though, will Lucasfilm make an entire show around their flagship character and Luke Skywalker and pay for the de-aged whatever they did on top of Mark Hamill's face, and they also brought in another actor? We're going to find out very soon how they did it, because I know they're doing one, but
I have a quick answer.
Yes.
To your point.
Yes, Colin.
Lor Santeca, very important figure.
Mm-hmm.
We know he was a part of building the initial batch of Jedi. What if we have a situation where that Luke shows up in a 6-episode show, where he shows up maybe twice, maybe in the first episode, next to last episode, and this is the building of the temple. This is the building of the Jedi, where Luke is out still doing his stuff, but Grogu's been dropped off at summer camp, and we're hanging out with the camp counselors. But the camp counselors just so happen to be maybe anyone. You could fill in all these Jedi. It could be Cal Kestis. You have Cal Kestis coming. Oh my God, I would lose my.
Oh God.
Oh, I would lose my. I would lose my mind if what's his name?
Cameron Monaghan.
Cameron Monaghan shows up. I will lose it, and that would be so good, because Cal is so true to his values, and just even in the game, you understand that he truly gets what's going on here. And then that sets up Ezra, possibly, all these different Jedi we have. You have Ahsoka in there for an episode, coming in, really being a part of it. Do you know how much the internet is thirsty for Ahsoka and Luke to just like stand in the same room?
Right.
The internet, Star Wars internet would explode.
Yeah, they would lose it.
Oh, it's all set up, though. I think it's all set up for if you can get that Luke de-agedness, and there's ways for them to work around it, where they cast a young Lor Santeca, who's in his 40s because he's in his 60s in the Force Awakens. You could maybe no, I was gonna say no. I can't say Tom Hiddleston. I was gonna say.
No, but kind of to finish my point was that I wonder if Lucasfilm would want to use that technology to de-age Mark Hamill or whatever actor that they would bring in and do that for an entire show. I just don't know if the resources exist yet to do that long term. I know they did it with Samuel L. Jackson for Captain Marvel. That was for one movie, right? And he's in a lot of the movie.
He's in a lot of the movie.
And it looks good. But with what they did with Luke was that they had Mark Hamill on set. They had this fill-in actor, and then they kind of spliced Mark Hamill's face onto his face, and then used the DH technology and used Mark's voice on top of another voice. I know we're getting the gallery episode very soon, and they're going to explain how they did it, and I'm very, very intrigued to see. But if that's such an extensive process that's still in the baby stages, if we're being completely honest, I don't know if they could do that for an entire season of a show and it looked good, because they either do that or they recast. But if knew you were going to do this show,
you would have done it already.
Then you would have just done it already.
Right. Exactly. So that's where the speculation comes in of like, if you were going to do it, you would have done it. So you're not going to do it? Okay, so now I can temper expectations and adjust. And I think that's where my point of maybe 1-2 episodes or it's just I get all these companies bounce off of everyone's ideas, right? So just to take this to another universe, what was it? 2.5-3 years ago, they announced these Netflix Walking Dead movies that, freaking Andrew Lincoln was gonna be, oh my God, how do I forget his name on the show? I've watched almost every episode of that show. Whatever. But his character in The Walking Dead leaves the show, but they're gonna bring him back in these movies. Could Disney do Disney Plus movies where they're just dropping these specials where it's like one adventure, and then I can see them doing it? But then I think that cost plays out to about the same of like 2 or 3 Disney Plus episodes, right? It's kind of about the same. So I think you can play it to where if it's Guardians of the Force, it's not just Luke and Grogu. Because this is one thing we are extremely naive about. The lore, the books that we have. Let's talk about the books that we have that are post episode 6 but pre episode 7, right? Those are the Chuck Wendig books, the Aftermath novels.
Yep.
And Bloodlines with by Claudia Gray, surrounded by Leia and all the political stuff of everybody finding out that, Vader's her dad. That's it. That's it. The comic Shattered Empire, that's it. There's a little bit of Luke in there, and then there's a little bit of the story. Battlefront 2. Yep, just going to say Battlefront 2, that little bit, right?
Which is great, by the way. Like, that one section scene of the game is so good. Good.
Oh, my God. Look at me, ugly crying. Like, that little bit of that is so good. So you got to think, what's Luke? Maybe 2 years after he finds the compass? Maybe he finds Grogu, right? So he's only been doing his thing for 2 years going around. Clearly, he's been drawn. Luke has the ability to be drawn to these Force users. Obviously, Grogu going to the top of the mountain and Madame Zeroniing the white light and all that. And Luke shows up eventually. But that could be replicated across the galaxy. I believe Luke is that powerful where it's like he senses it within the Force no matter where it is. And that opens up the Ezra doors. I mean, oh my God, it just opens up so many things.
No, dude, the more you talk about, the more I'm like 100% on board with that.
But make it 6 episodes. It doesn't have to be 8 episodes. It doesn't have to be 10 episodes. Like, I need 3. I need 4. I don't care.
Like, can you imagine story? Like Grogu and Din's journey leading up to the top of that mountain, and Grogu sending out that signal to Luke, right? What if that signal goes and hits Cal Kestis, right? Cal Kestis senses that and goes and finds Luke, right?
Because that's a disturbance. It's like a positive disturbance in the Force, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It was basically like a lighthouse. Like he's just like, come find me. Like I'm here. I need help. Come find me. And what if all these other Jedi start to pop up, and then that whole show, series, whatever it is just like Luke bringing in these legends now. Guest
star.
That would be absolutely insane. But again, my next point, I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but if this was a plan that this has been something they've been planning on doing for quite some time now, of a Luke Skywalker and Grogu show, this is not how you announce it. You don't let this happen. You do not let this slip. Right? Like it's Lucasfilm, for crying out loud. It's Disney. They're a lot better at planning these things, and
Dave Filoni doesn't let this fall out of his back pocket.
You don't announce something as big as a Luke Skywalker and Grogu show. We're talking about Luke Skywalker, the flagship character in Star Wars, and Grogu, who took over the world a couple of years ago. You don't launch something this massive with an art poster for a San Diego Comic-Con at home. It just doesn't
he's
happen.
Floating on like the little disc. I just noticed. It's not even like a table. He's like floating on it. It's so great. Oh my God.
It's so great. Like I love it, but I don't know what it means. And for now, I'm just going to let my imagination run wild and think of all the crazy adventures and shenanigans that these two guys get into. Here. Yes. Absolutely. Or recklessly, depending on the day.
Yeah, I mean, I recklessly speculate on everything. I think that's why I'm the way I am.
But man, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what this turns into, if anything.
Worst case scenario, give me a book. Best case scenario, give me a show. But, I don't care. Like, I just trust Dave Filoni so much that there is such a weight lifted off this I did not care for episode 9 chest.
Yep.
That I now understand what it's like for people to like watch an MCU movie and just be like, that wasn't for me, or like, but I do have these things that I love. The Mandalorian is it's how I played with my toys when I was a kid. Yeah. Like, these are the stories I was trying to tell, the deeper stories, and they finally have the avenue for it. and they're gonna get to it. There's no way they're not gonna get to it. If they want to get to it, and I don't see Grogu and Mark Hamill until Mark Hamill can play him age appropriately and Grogu's still Grogu, I don't care.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Mark Hamill could be, like, he played age appropriate Luke in the scenes in The Last Jedi where they flash back to the temple burning, and he still looks the same.
Yeah.
You know, you could do 5 years before that. You could do 10 years before that and degrade the beard and whatever you want. I just trust them.
Yes.
Every show we have coming, everything that we know exists, I've never had such faith in all of the projects currently being juggled. I don't know ever. I don't know if I've ever had that much faith. And that's even when you had Rebels at its peak going with The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, everything going into one in, you know, the Rebels started 2014 to 2018 timeline. All of that, it felt like, oh, Disney's still trying to figure itself out. What if this has been all leading from the Jeff Bridges moment in Tron Legacy? What if Disney has it? What if they feel so... Let's turn your point on the heel. Let's turn it the other way. What if they now feel so strongly in this de-aging technology that they can pull it off, that they will do a show? Because I think it's like 51 you, 49 the other way, because Disney's ballsy as hell. They'll do it because they know people are going to watch it. And what if they're finally like, screw it, let's just do it. We're not going to recast these guys. Mark Hamill's one of the most recognizable characters in the entire world. His voice is the only thing that's more recognizable as something else. You see his face and it's Luke Skywalker. You hear his voice and it's the Joker.
Right.
But we're not going to recast Leia. They would have done it. They're not going to do Leia. I don't think we might ever not see Leia again on screen. And I don't ever want to see Leia again on screen unless it's in a cartoon version of the book, the kid Leia book. I would love to see
Princess of Alderaan.
Princess of Alderaan. Would love to see a little 90-minute version of that with her and Baby Holdo running around Alderaan. That'd be fantastic. But Disney, who knows? Like, what if this is it? Like, what? That's kind of where my mind went the total polar opposite direction of like, they might have figured it out. And this might have been the moment where they looked at Mandalorian Season 2, the finale, and been like, yo, like 95% of people thought that fucking slapped. And then 5 people were like, oh, why was that not Sebastian Stan? And then Disney was like, screw the 5%. The 95% win.
Right.
And we could just get it. Would you be cool with that though? Like, would you watch that? Like, as an audience member, would you be comfortable watching, knowing that it was a digitally de-aged thing? If it looked correct, if the story, would it take you out of it? What do they call it? The uncanny valley?
Mm-hmm. Well, from the scene that we got in the season finale of season 2, that worked for me because it was only for a short amount of time. There was only one real shot zoomed in on his face. And when you first watch it, you're like, oh my God, that's Mark Hamill.
Right.
But the longer you spend more time looking at it, you start to see, oh, you can kind of see the edit, and it's not
like
it's
Leia
not
at the end of Rogue One. The more you watch the end of Rogue One, you're like, oh, this is weird.
Right. If it was that for an entire show, I think that would bother me because it would just be a little too much. It wouldn't work because it's not like completely flawless, and he's going to be doing action scenes, because that's the other thing. In that entire scene, he's got his hood covered up
because he can't get that slim, right? Like Samuel L. Jackson filmed that shit.
Right, yeah.
That's the difference. Samuel L. Jackson was on set. He was filming Captain Marvel when you bring it back to the best, I think, looking de-aging stuff they've ever done. Luckily enough, Sam Jackson was able to film that stuff. He wasn't on set doing all that shit. So I think that is definitely the big difference here. It's like the physical nature of the stuff. Definitely would have to.
They would have to.
And I don't want to watch it with his hood up either. Don't put his hood up.
They would have to cast a younger person to do the action sequences, to be the body model, and then they would have to, every single frame with his face on screen, they would have to de-age or reinsert Mark Hamill's face on top of his.
I don't even know what program you use.
Yeah, I don't know. I did see though, and
Can you do that in Premiere? Adobe. Can I do that in Premiere?
I did see though, and I don't want to take too much more time, but some fan redid that scene using deep fake technology. Lucasfilm just hired that guy.
Oh, snap.
So I wonder, I'm just thought of this. What if they hired him to do this?
I'm broken. My brain's broken, and I think we could talk about this for the rest of the night.
Yes, we could.
But, sir...
God, that would make so much sense.
Oh, that's perfect. Oh, my God.
Like, I can't believe I did
join him.
I don't know how I didn't think about that until just now. So now I just going to take back everything I said and just throw it away. Like, of course, they bring this guy in to do what they couldn't do for the entire show. And this painting here was meant to tease us fans. Maybe it was meant to come out. Maybe it wasn't. But I'm calling it right now. This is happening. Guardians of the Force.
You heard it here first.
2024.
That's a beautiful title.
Latest.
Lucasfilm, I take full responsibility.
Yes. Make sure Colin gets his credit.
I just want a ticket. Just give me a Rise of Resistance boarding pass.
That's all. That's a great way to full circle. Just let my man ride the ride. It's not a ride. It's an experience. It's too hard to ride.
What position as we close out? What position were you in the Millennium Falcon ride?
I was the pilot.
Yeah, my boy. I will punch a child to be the pilot. I will throw a child out of the room if I am not the pilot.
Dude,
I will. I don't care.
That ride is so hard.
Like, I will make sure I go with 3 other people just so I can punch them to be the pilot, and I know who the 3 people are.
It just I would suggest. I wouldn't say that. I was gonna say maybe watch videos to kind of prepare yourself. Just do it. Just go in blind.
I will watch it right now. I will watch it once. I will write it once, and then watch the videos.
There you go. There you go. Well, that is gonna do it for this installment of Saber Reels. It was great to be back. We had a lot to talk about. Typically, these shows are very Bad Batch heavy, but we had to break this down, man. And it was a great conversation. And man, I really hope we see something come out of this. It's too good of a tease not to. Like, it really is.
These are the conversations you can expect when Bad Batch is not going on. Visions. We can sit here and speculate on anything. I love the cohesion that the 3 of us have, and even just you can throw any of us up here in the rotation, and we can sit here and go on anything all night. Like you want to sit here and talk for another hour on like a solo show? We could do it. Because it'll probably happen. Like it's that kind of mentality around here. So expect more of that. As always, folks, speculate responsibly. And I think I kind of get the rundown around here. So let's see what I can do.
Yes, because I'm terrible at it. I've never even attempted it. I don't plan on it. Colin, go ahead.
Sundays we have I believe Real Talk going down here on Watt. And just fantastic conversation going down this week. Conversation going on with, and let me see if I have the graphics. I believe I don't. Thought I totally did. It's fine.
Damn.
We got the 48-hour film competition conversation going on around the Cleveland area. Gonna have a great conversation with Nick and Matt and some others on Monday, of course. Spin from the Reel. I believe I have Page for Brady and the Jackal Jesse Swift coming on to discuss their Schmodown adventures recently on Tuesday. Oh my God, we got Real Sports coming in hot with everything you need to know about the NBA draft with me, with Matt, with anyone else in the Watt family who wants to show up and tell me what their team is going to do in the NBA final or the NBA draft. I want to know. I want to know what you want your team to do. It's going to be a great night. And
wait. Can I interject?
Yes.
I do not want the Pacers to draft another white guy. That is my only thing. Pacers, please stop. No more TJ Leafs, please. I beg you.
No more TJ Leafs. More Sabonuses, please. More Sabonuses. If they're white, I better not be able to pronounce their last name. That is Toby's stance. And hopefully, I think Thursday night, I believe we're going to go live post-lottery. We're going to do a post-lottery reaction because the draft really cools down after pick 14. It kind of gets a little boring after that. So we're going to fill in the back half of your NBA draft night on Thursday. Possibly a return coming up soon of Really Scared, and so much more. You can always find us here. You got Wrestle Reel as well, going down with the boys whenever they see fit, usually on Fridays. This week was a special Thursday, and of course on Saturdays, find us here on Saber Reels. It is a Watt boy summer up in here. It has been fantastic to be a part of the family. How wild is that group chat? I don't know if I've been in a more wilder group chat in my life besides a fantasy football group chat, which it will soon turn into a fantasy football group chat.
Yes. No, since we added you and Shug to the group chat, it has just been nonsense. Like, it's, yeah.
When Nick posted his picture of the 69 unread messages, perfect. That was so good. Perfect summary of everything we got going on, dude. But let's hit it to hyperspeed. Let's
Yes, sir. Thank you, Colin, for the breakdown of the channel. You are doing that from now on. I'm making the decision now. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment. Check out all our other great content on the channel, whether it be upcoming shows or we got a whole backlog of stuff that you guys can check out as well. So make sure you do that. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your support. We'll see you guys next week. May the force be with you always.